It's that time of the year to reflect and say goodbye. This has been the craziest year by far for me. It started out with rejection letters, and now I've become a full-time content creator with 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube and 3.2 million on TikTok and 623,000 on Instagram. And did I foresee this happening at all this time last year? Most definitely not. And along the way, there's been many lessons I've learned that I wanted to share with you. So let's get it, doobies. Lesson number 1. A crisis is an opportunity. 2021 started on a low. Some of you might have already seen this video on how I began content, but it was because nobody wanted me. I applied to over 100 places and got 0 callbacks. You know that feeling when you're bleeding so much that another wound really makes no difference? Well, that's how I felt when I would open another email that started with "unfortunately" for almost 6 months. In hindsight, it made sense. I barely had any relevant work experience. I worked as an SAT tutor, a waitress, an intern at a YouTube production company, and a lab assistant. My grades were not great because I didn't feel like I had a purpose in school. I was really doing the bare minimum to graduate. I mean, B's and C's get degrees. My parents had worked their backs off to try and give me the best education possible, but I had let them down. Even after all they've done, I was not somebody society deemed valuable or worthy. My confidence level was at its lowest. I honestly avoided seeing people because I felt embarrassed that I was unemployed. All my Ivy League friends knew what their subsequent paths were after graduation. I turned to cooking as a form of therapy and escape. I started documenting my meals for fun. I told myself, hey, I'll give this a shot for a year, and if it doesn't work out, I have nothing to lose, and at least I'll have a nice portfolio to start applying again next year. Lesson number 2. Fuck the haters. I loved watching YouTube when I was growing up. I grew up watching Bon Appetit, binging with Babish, Maddie Matheson, Something Longest, Eddie Wong, Mangchi, you name it. It's how I grew my passion for food and media. It had always been my dream to be like them, but one that was distant. No one I knew pursued a creative path, and even much less a YouTuber. If I had said to my friends in college that my career plan was to be a YouTuber, literally everyone would have laughed. For the longest time, this was the biggest roadblock in my mind from making content and posting it. I was so self-conscious that everyone would ridicule me and laugh behind the screen that I never even tried. When I had nothing to lose, that's when I started posting and bombarding my social channels with "follow my TikTok, #foodgasm, hit like and subscribe and turn your notifications on."
Which, by the way, please do if you like where this is heading.
Think about it though, you are your best supporter, and who cares what other people think? It's your life, you do what you want to do, life is way too short. Lesson number 3. Consistency is key. I could never stick to one hobby as a kid. I tried ballet, flute, piano, figure skating, taekwondo, and even competitive horseback riding. Yes, I was a horse girl, but this time I really wanted to do one thing consistently. So I grinded. So I just finished work. I am going to go pick up some bones from my local butcher. I ordered pork bones and pig feet in advance because I've been preparing to do this ramen video for a while. So I'm really excited to see all my freaky little bones. I would wake up early to go grocery shopping, plan out my day, recipe test, edit every single day for the first few months. And you can see how far my editing and filming has gone from looking at my first ever video. Lesson number 4. There will be lows. Not every video or moment in life is going to be a high. Highs exist only because there are lows, and everything is comparative. It took me some time to learn to keep my calm with metrics. My mood and my well-being depended entirely on how viral a video would be. This was also aggravated by how metric focused and instant gratification quality that TikTok has. It honestly made me so miserable and affected the people around me. It's easy to be happy and motivated when business is booming, but the people that last and are successful are the ones that still push through when things are not doing so well. Consistency, despite the lows, is key to being the last one standing. Lesson number 5. Understand your strengths and weaknesses. Here are some weaknesses I have. Not the best cook, not the best videographer, not the best cinematographer, and I'm also, unfortunately, not the funniest person alive. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who do a much better job than me in myriads of aspects. But my point of differentiation is that I'm all those things combined. There's good food, film, funny jokes everywhere, but you can't find a doobie-doobop anywhere. Someone can try and be like me or copy me, but they can never be me. When you're living life, you'll see some people that have advantages over you, whether that's natural talent, capital, or upbringings. The list of what they have versus what you don't have can be endless. But instead of thinking of it as setbacks, think of it on the flip side as vantage points. You don't have to be different to start a career on YouTube or anywhere. So understand yourself and know your forte, because being self-aware can get you places. Lesson number 6. Believe in yourself.
은서야, 이거를 풀타임으로 한다는 거는 조금
Okay, this one sounds so cliched, but I cannot stress how important that is. There will be people that undercut your talent and your worth along the way for their own advantage, but less blatantly so. At times, it can be from those who you trust and care about you, like your friends, your family, your partner, under the premise of, we're saying this because we care about you. And not going to lie, I too doubted myself a lot along the lines, but always knew that from within, I could do it, and I wasn't going to let these comments put me down. But it was hard, especially hearing from someone you love. Lesson number 7. Heartbreak is a part of growing. In my last video, someone commented, "This is the 3rd time you've mentioned your ex-boyfriend. Clearly, someone is not over their relationship." I was with my ex-boyfriend for over 2.5 years. During that time, we both graduated, moved to a new country, found our own career paths, and lived together during COVID. I don't think anyone can be completely over a relationship. If so, you didn't really love. Relationships are not static, like an on and off switch. They're still a part of our life together that still lives on inside me today. You know, things weren't so happy in London. We tried, but we grew to become very different people, and oftentimes were frustrated by how things weren't like before. We argued a lot, we felt the gap between our worlds widen as my little hobby started evolving as a being of its own, and we couldn't understand each other. We broke up, but we were still living together for a week while I was packing my belongings to move back to Korea. This was the most challenging week of my life. I'm quoting this amazing creator from TikTok to describe how I was feeling then, but our relationship was like how an Airbnb feels like your home. All the little comforts are there, but you know that there's a non-negotiable eviction date. But we knew the unspoken, inevitable truth. We had a good time, but our time together was over. Lesson number 8. Family is everything. 0 friends, heartbroken, and an emotional tumble of mess, I packed my bags and came to Korea. Shambles wouldn't even be the right word to describe the state I was in, but despite everything that happened, going to the UK, pursuing content as a full-time career, all against my family's will, they were always there for me no matter what. Lesson number 9. Venture out of your comfort zone. I was focusing on myself, my work, my family for the first few months, and feeling like myself finally again. Before, my videos followed a certain format. Close-up of the food, me eating, don't yuck my yum, then ASMR. While I still love cooking, I wanted to venture out of the rigid style and experiment. I wanted to sprinkle more personality and creativity into the videos, but still I was so afraid that nobody would like it because it's not what people had initially signed up to follow me for. Even if a video didn't perform well, I knew that my parents would always be there for me and love me no matter what. So I started experimenting with slightly vloggier, storytelling formats. Along the way, I've had people say that they hate my voice and I should just stick to silent cooking, but still the majority of you liked me for me. And funnily enough, that first viral video for me on YouTube was a vloggy one. None of my other TikTok or Instagram videos were receptive on YouTube, but amidst all the gourmet meals, plain old egg over rice with a side of personality was the one that took off. So explore out of your comfort zone and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Hey, see what I did with the egg metaphor? Okay, never mind. Lesson number 10. Be spontaneous. Around the time when my videos were doing well, I was growing exponentially from shorts on YouTube, and I got burnt out. I don't even really know what the point of me putting out so many videos and growing is when I'm not happy. So I left for New York. Lesson 11, meet new people. My trip to New York City was eye-opening. I was so used to working alone that when I met other fellow content creators, I felt so heard and was getting so inspired. I was also meeting my role models and it really felt like a dream come true. I was also getting recognized on the streets, meeting fellow doobies, and it was so amazing. Before, it was just all numbers, and I could suddenly tangibly feel the fruition of my hard work. I immediately knew this is where I wanted to be. Lesson number 12. Running away doesn't solve problems. I'm pretty lonely here. Really wish that I could be in one place for a long time, make friends and grow roots. That's something that I really miss in my life, and I also don't know where home is yet. After my trip to New York, I was left feeling like I didn't belong in either of the worlds. I wasn't legally able to work in the US and my visa process was on hold with no guarantees. I didn't really know anyone in Korea and was still living with my parents, not committing to a place. All these issues I tried to push away were still present and something I knew I had to confront. Lesson 13. Some things are outside your realm of control. Around the time I was feeling this way, I planned a trip to go to Mexico to visit my friend for 2 months. We had the trip of our life planned out and I booked everything, flights, accommodations, Airbnb experiences, everything. But Lesson 14. Having my space is important. Whether that be physical or mental, I knew that I needed my own space for a while. Living with my parents was making me feel complacent. I was growing more and more dependent on them, more than I wanted to be. And they too were slightly treating me like a little kid again, and I did not like that. Yes, living with them would have been easier, but I didn't want easy. Lesson 15. Learn to adapt. Unable to move to US or escape to Mexico, I had no choice but to make Korea my home. Instead of continuing my contemplation for, is it worth it to getting a lease here? What if I want to travel and not be tied down and be in this constant limbo stage? I decided to pull the plug and sign the lease. And inspired by what my friend John had said to me, I wanted to also assimilate and adapt to Korea as it is my home now and I am Korean. I postponed my dream of going to New York to be more present here in Korea and to be happy. Lesson 16. Being alone is a part of growing up. I had never really been alone in my life. I had my family, then boarding school, where I was constantly surrounded by 50 other angsty teenagers, college, my ex-boyfriend. I always had people readily around me at any moment. But in my new home, it was just me. I was left alone with my thoughts, and it forced me to ask a lot of questions and be retrospective. Alone itself does not carry a negative connotation, whereas lonely does. Being alone without being lonely is a learning curve that a lot of fledgling adults like myself go through. Lesson 17. Money doesn't buy happiness. I feel like this is also an obvious one, but something that really felt home for me. Sometimes when you achieve what you've always wanted quicker than you thought, you're left feeling hollow. No Dyson vacuum cleaner, Breville coffee machine, or oatmeal colored KitchenAid made me happier. It all seemed meaningless. I kept asking myself, is there all there is? I've achieved the things I wanted, but still, I'm unhappy. Am I born to be wired unhappy? I took a few days to think about this hollowness and void in my chest. I wanted to be able to assess these feelings and process before sharing. I wanted to have an answer and a happy ending to my anecdote like my other stories. But that's not me. I'm still figuring out and processing my metamorphosis into adulthood. All of this is new to me, and like many of you, I'm on the same quest to find what makes me happy. Lesson 18. You can't please everyone. As my channel grew bigger, I felt the responsibility on my shoulders get heavier. Don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly grateful for all the love and support, but sometimes it's mind-boggling how many people are watching my videos. The other day, my mom told me that one of our neighbors watches my content and showed disdain for one of the jokes I made in my vlogs. And out of care, she told me that I should watch out what I say and not share some of the more personal details about my life. We agreed to disagree, but this made me question the language I use in my videos or whether I should be sharing personal stories with my ex-boyfriend or inner thoughts. But YouTube is my creative outlet to express my emotions as I navigate into adulthood. Yes, people will judge, but that shouldn't hinder me from expressing myself and being true. I know that there's more people out there who appreciate it than those who don't, so I'm okay with that. Lesson 19. Learn to take a step back. Hi, doobies. I'm definitely a fear-driven person. I always worry about what's gonna go wrong, even when things are going really, really well. And it's really difficult for me to take a step back because I love this, this is my dream come true and I want it to do really, really well. I want you guys to be happy and it's not healthy to do everything by myself and at this much quantity. So I am trying to take a step back for next year and I'm aware of that. So that's why I put it in as one of my lessons. Yeah. It's for the longevity of my career and for the happiness of me, for myself. And I think it applies to not just me who does content, but for everyone else who is really working hard to pave a better future for themselves. So keep that in mind. Take care of yourself. Lesson 20. It's okay to have no effing clue. I'm back. This is also what I feel like doing this 21 lessons for 2021. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying. And I want to get through this with you guys, This is my first time living life, and I too am pretty lost, and I don't know if I'm in a position to give any advice, but hopefully all this can be some solace to those who are going through the same situation as I am. So yeah, I don't know, don't listen to me, or listen to me. Whatever, do whatever you want. It's your life. Happy New Year. Lesson 21. December 31st is 1231. It's, oh my god, it's so cold. I'm gonna go inside and talk. Okay, not sure why I'm ending 21 lessons from 2021 on a toilet, but it also seems very befitting. So it's 1231, right? It really feels like a full circle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it's just always a cycle. We're constantly learning, There really is no end as long as we live. And as much as a new year sounds like a fresh new start, maybe it is. but it's just a continuation of what we learned the year before. And that's really what I'm hoping. Not everything that I've talked about are ones that I feel like I've completely learned. Yes, it's lessons that I know are true, that I've felt this year, but not ones I've learned yet. So, on that note, Happy New Year, doobies.
오랜만이야 10년이면 강산 또 변한다던데